Yo, what's going on YouTube? CloverBells here, back with another Series 12 team building video, and it is finally time to do a Lugia team building video. But specifically, it was requested by a viewer with a tier 3 sub that we do a Lugia Zacian team building video. Now, I've seen this pair do relatively okay actually. And it does have one or two results, so it's not like terrible, you know. That's just because Zacian is good. But yeah, Lugia, it's in itself is not the greatest restricted, if I were to put it kindly. But you know, the viewer requested it. It's their favorite Pokemon. They grew up with the nostalgia of playing Pokemon Silver, you know, and just catching it in the Whirlpool Islands, and it was their favorite, coolest mon when they were growing up as a kid. So I get it. I get the nostalgia feel. So our job now is to come up with a team to at least make it viable, right? I didn't say win a tournament. I said make it viable. Okay, so we got to make it playable somehow. So, you know, of course, we'll talk about like why Lugia struggles. But it does have some positives, and the positives is you're looking at the stats here, and look at that bulk. I mean, like base 106 HP, base 130 defense, base 154 special defense. So Lugia, you can argue, is the bulkiest restricted that there is, you know, just based on these stats alone. And if you also look at its speed, 110 is very, very good, because you can tell that, you know, you're outspeeding those base 100. So you got some of that. It's just like that special attacking stat of base 90 is just, oh my goodness. Have you ever seen this? Like, if you just put in like something like Ghastly, like Ghastly, Ghastly has base 100 special attack. Even Ghastly has a higher base special attack than Lugia. That is kind of funny. I mean, it's just, you know, it's a love-hate relationship with Lugia. You love it. It's so cool. But at the same time, you know, it just suffers because of this lack of damage, and even with that, with like the weakness policy, like even then, it just struggles a little bit. I mean, actually a little bit is just an understatement. But you know, I could spend an entire video explaining why Lugia is just not great. But that is not what we're here to do. We are here to at least make this viable. So how can we do it? So the way I like to think of it is, okay, we are weak with our psychic typing. That's not doing us any favors, right? We're weak to Lunala, we're weak to Yvelta, we're weak to Calyrex Shadow Rider. So we have to at least, you know, support that weakness and patch that up just a little bit. And then at the same time, we have to figure, okay, can we at least make the Sun matchup with Groudon playable, as well as the Kyogore matchup, right? And then at the same time, do we have anything for those Trick Room, Palkia, Calyrex, Ice Rider teams? You know, that's like the main meta, right? You have to have something for those things that I've listed, all right? And we do have a Zacian. So anytime you have Zacian, there's hope, okay? There is hope. So we've got something here. And, you know, we also have to consider, okay, the electric weakness is there. So I think a ground type is necessary. And there's a couple of ways to do this. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up with two squads based on what I think is good in the meta. And the two squads is based on personal preference, depending on what you want to do. So we have Lugia, we have Zacian. I think Incineroar has to be here, no matter what kind of build you do. Basically, you know, this thing is what actually makes certain matchups playable. Like you're weak to Calyrex Shadow Rider, Yvelta, and Lunala. The Incineroar can at least check that. Right, and then the Zacian matchup as well, right? You intimidate the Zacian, you know, and you have something for it as well. And then the Calyrex Ice Rider. This is what lets you leverage the Incineroar, right? This matchup against Calyrex Ice Rider. You know, you have to pivot in the intimidate. You have to use your fake out. You have to stall the Trick Room that way, right? So Incineroar does have to come here, and this is the core, right? Lugia, Zacian, Incin, right? This is it. And then from here, I think we do need a ground type. On the other build, we are going to use something like Gastrodon, and this is going to help against Regieleki stuff, and it's going to help in the Kyogore matchup, right? But on this version of this team, I do prefer the Landorus here, and the Landorus will give you that second Intimidate option, and Regieleki doesn't want to come here, you know, because we have this Landorus, and this also makes the Sun matchup a little bit, you know, it actually helps a little bit, right? Because you have 2 Intimidators for Groudon and Zacian, and then Landorus, of course, you know, with the Airstream, you punish the Venusaur, and then you always have that Rock move for the Charizard, right? So the problem is, you know, the Charizard is faster and just melts the Landorus. So you need a way to get the speed control on the Landorus first. I'm sorry, on the Charizard first. So this way you don't just auto lose to it, right? So from here, I think we do want also something for that Trick Room matchup, or at least to make it a little bit more playable. Incineroar is just not enough. I think Amoongus has to come here. And what you can do with the Amoongus is provide redirection support for your Landorus, because we are going to be a Swords Dance set. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Okay, I still spelled it wrong. Okay, there we go. So yeah, and then now you can kind of see like where things are coming. We have that redirection to set up, you know, Swords Dance. And then if you want, I mean, we're not going to do it on this team, you know, you can always go like Calm Mind on the Lugia set, you know, with the Amoongus to help, you know, at least deal some damage a little bit outside of max, at least in the beginning, right? So there's that if you want to go that route. We are not going to do that on this version of this team, but yeah. And then now, what else can we do? So we have the Landorus. It helps a little bit with the electric weakness, but I think we do need a little bit more, and I think the Raichu is still pretty good here. So I do like Raichu here, okay? And there's a few reasons why. First of all, you got a faster fake out user, so you're faster than Rillaboom's and Incineroars, right? And then you also have a way to proc your policy into the Lugia with the Volt Switch, right? So and not only that, you have a broken move called Nuzzle. All right, so there's your speed control on the Charizard. Now, that being said, if they're running, you know, Groudon and Gastrodon, I don't know how viable the Raichu is a little bit. So you're going to have to outplay the opponent if you don't bring the Raichu, because the speed control on the Raichu, maybe you can't bring it if they're running like double ground, and that's what makes this a little bit tricky. But you still have ways around it, and I'll explain that a little bit towards the end of the video. But of course you are going to have Fake Out again, and I think this last movie, I know we're doing like the Raichu set last year, but you know, I've thought of a few moves. I've thought Helping Hand here, which is nice. That's good for Landorus, that's good for Zacian, that's good for Lugia. But I think what we also want is the Eerie Impulse, and this is also, again, this is good for the other special attackers like a Palkia, like a Dialga, like an Yvelta, like a Kyogre, things that just don't want to be neutered when they're Dynamax, right? And you can kind of bait it, you know, turn 1 with the Eerie Impulse. So yeah, so we have double Fake Out, we have double Intimidate, we do have Redirection, a little bit of Speed Control, you know, with the Nuzzle and the Paralysis Hacks, and we do have a little bit of Airstream with the Lugia and the Landorus, so there's that. Now, I think this is an okay 6. I do have another build which might be a little bit better. That one involves Screens with Grimmsnarl, and if you want to, you know, skip to the timestamp where we build that version of that team, take a look at that one. But I think this is okay, because like there's some synergy with Lugia and Landorus, right? You can always Earthquake next to Lugia, right? Because your Lugia is a flying type, and then you can just go for Airstreams and just make each other really, really fast. But the tech that we're going to be running on Lugia is this one. It's going to be Shadow Ball. Yes, this is the Clover tech on Lugia, and the reason why is, you know, sometimes you just have to accept the fact that Lugia is just not going to be able to do that much damage, even with the weakness policy. You know, weakness policy is a bonus if you can get it off. But what you can do with Shadow Ball, and when you Dynamax it, is now the Lugia can almost become like a supportive max, which doesn't sound like so good, because, you know, you're supposed to use your max to exert offense and put on pressure. But Lugia just can't quite do that unless it has its policy going. But without the policy, what we can do at the very least is get those defense drops and at least make Landorus hit really, really hard, and same for Zacian, and to a degree Incineroar, right? So at least we can do that with Lugia if we're not like getting KOs with the weakness policy. So that's how I see it. And then also at the very least, you got something for Lunala and you got something for Calyrex if you can get the speed on it. And the thing is, because we're so bulky, especially with like multi-scale, Lugia won't just get one shot by Calyrex or Lunala, right? It's gonna take a lot more than one Astro Barrage to hit Lugia really hard, because again, the Calyrex Shadow Riders, they don't have Life Orb that much anymore. Some of them still have it, but not more are still using that Focus Sash, which just doesn't do as much damage, right? So we can always Shadow Ball them next with the Policy proc after that, or even like an Airstream and outspeed it eventually. But again, this is how I kind of want to play this squad, at least for this version. So let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs here. So we got Lugia, Zacian, we're going to have Incin, Landorus, Amoongus, and Raichu. This will be the 6. So now let's finish off the movesets, the items, and again, the EVs afterwards. Alright, so now let's look at Lugia here. And again, if you don't like the Shadow Ball set, you know, what you can also do is just go for like Aeroblast, Earth Power. I think those are the 2 staple moves. But if you don't like Shadow Ball, you can always just do like Calm Mind. And then you have to go Recover if you want to go Calm Mind, right? Because you want to alternate your recovery moves with your Calm Mind. And this way you want to get your multi-skill back. And then just like outbulk the opponent, you know, with Calm Mind. But then with this set, I think you have to have Grimmsnarl, which is what we're going to do in the second version of this team. But because we're not doing this set, we're going to do, you know, the more supportive, aggressive set, as I like to kind of call it. Shadow Ball Protect is pretty good. Especially if you have a policy, you can bait a potential super effective move with the Dynamax, and then, you know, just get the policy going. Zacian, very standard here. Behemoth Blade, Sacred Sword, good for knocking out Dialga, Incin, Porygon 2. All these things don't want to take Sacred Sword. Play Rough, you know, really good for Palkia to a degree. Yvelta, right? You know, Behemoth Blade almost one-shots that thing depending on its bulk. But again, that fairy move is very much appreciated. And then Protect, right? And then Incin, again with the Incineroar, Flare Blitz, Fake Out, of course, Parting Shot, and the dark move, Throat Chop. Now, I think the Sugar Berry is going to be much appreciated here, because, you know, without it, we already have like 3 ground weaknesses with the Raichu. I think, you know, being able to pivot on Groudon with the Sugar Berry is really nice. So there's that. Now, Landorus, Fly and Rock Slide to round out the last move sets here. And now you have a couple options. You can go like, you can go Life Orb Landorus. You can go White Herb Landorus, you know, just because to stop the cycling of Intimidate. Or you can even do like Lum Berry, which is good. And this is the one that we're gonna keep, just because, like, you know, Venusaur is a thing, Amoongus is the thing, Burns are a thing. So I still like Lum Berry, especially with the Amoongus here and with a Swords Dance set. So go ahead and at me if you don't like the Lum Berry. Now, we are going to put the Sash on the Raichu here, which means we have a couple options with the Amoongus in terms of a berry. I think Koba's pretty good. I do like Yachi Berry, right? Because, like, the Amoongus, you always want to bring it in the Calyrex Ice Rider matchup, but sometimes you just have to take a Glacial Lance, but you don't really live it. You can after Intimidate, but, like, even then, no, you can even consider Yachi Berry if you want. And I think we can find it here. There it is. There's the Yachi Berry, as I like to call it. Now, that's an item. I do think the Koba is still pretty good for the Amoongus here. So we'll just stick with that. Rage Powder and Spore is important. Now, here you have a couple of options, right? Pollen Puff is good, especially with Lugia. You can heal it back up and then get your multi-scale back. So that's always nice. You could even consider a grass move for Gastrodon, but I don't know if Gastrodon would really want to come into this matchup. It might, because, like, Earth Power is really good against 3 of these mons. You have the Ice move for Landorus and even Amoongus. And I don't know if you want to click that into Lugia. You're just going to give me Policy. But yeah, I mean, you can even run a grass move on this. You can run, like, Foul Play. Self-proc your Policy with Foul Play. You can use this against Calyrex. You can use this against, like, things with weakness policy activation, just to do extra damage against them, and then even protect here. The other one that I've also seen is Hex, deal double damage after a Spore, so really good into a lot of mons if you can, like, just get a Spore off on them. So I've seen that, but I think Pollen Puff just also makes sense here, just to heal your Landorus, your Zacian, your Lugia, just prolong the battle a little bit longer, right? And then we've said the Raichu here. Now, there's a couple of other moves I considered on Raichu. I've even considered, like, Electroweb, but then you would get rid of Nuzzle, I would believe, but Nuzzle's so good, you know. But so is Electroweb. But again, it's always a little bit of a toss-up with the Raichu moveset here, but I think this is okay for what we want to do. Again, the Volt Switch into Lugia, then you can go into like your Landorus, dodge a Max Quick move, and then Lugia can just Dynamax or just go for Air Streams or Max Phantasm defense drops, and then Landorus all of a sudden is now hitting very, very hard. So I think this is a solid team for what we want to do. Again, you want the Amoongus in those Trick Room games. Raichu, Lugia is always nice, just because you can Nuzzle and Eerie Impulse things, and then Lugia can try and get in position and potentially Dynamax or just crit with Aeroblast, I would say. But then Landorus can just be your Dynamax option, you know, and you can even just leave Lugia behind, and then Landorus Zacian with one of the other four, with one of the others like Amoongus or Raichu is already like pretty good. So yeah, now let's just go ahead and go for the EVs. Okay, so for like Lugia EVs, you have a couple of options, right? You can just go like Timid here, but like Timid is so bad. Like if you would have to like max out your special attack if you went Timid, and just 142. That's like nothing, man. Like I don't know. Like if you want to go Timid, okay, I would just do like just this much, just to outspeed base 100s, and then speed creep them if you want to go to 169. But like 180 is good enough, and then you can just dump the rest into something like HP, and then this way you optimize hail chip and weather damage, hail and sand weather damage, you know, because you're hitting this 191 mark, and then, you know, 191 divided by 16 will optimize your weather damage, right? So there's that, but again, the damage is just not good. So if you don't want this, if you want a little bit more damage, I think Modest is the way to go. See, like that's a little better, but even then it's still like not like super amazing, but still okay. Now what you can do here is you can just go with enough speed to outspeed, you know, the Kyogres. I think that's something like 150. I mean, it's like 156, but then like you also want to like try and outspeed Landorus a little bit, especially your own. So I think 158 is pretty good, and then you just have like a little bit of leftover bulk here. And then just honestly, you know, you can just make it so that you have an even number to, you know, get the best out of your Max Quick from either the Lugia or the Landorus. And then from here, 1 point in defense, not really so important, and then the rest just can go into HP for that matter. I mean, this is it. You know, this is what we have to go max, even though we are Modest. Just like, even with the policy, Modest max is not like super good. You know, just imagine like Groudon. Groudon can do like 198 damage, or like even Kyogre can just do like 200 plus damage without even like breaking a sweat here. And then here we are trying to do like make weakness policy Lugia viable, but I think this is still okay. Zacian, I just want to outspeed Alecki again after a +1 or aka a -1. So we're gonna go Adamant here. Same Zacian spread that we've used since the beginning of Series 12, with the hitting the bump here with the Zacian here. So here's the bump 291. I'm sorry, 229 to 231. See how we skipped 230 here? This is the bump here. And then from here, we just want a 1 point here. 188 is a good number, just so that we hit that magic 191 mark. And then honestly, we can just go into attack one more time, 232, just to get a little bit more out of our Rusted Sword +1 boost. All right, we don't want to have an odd number there. I think having an even number is good. So this way we don't have a decimal where it'll round down. So I think that's that. Now Incin. I just want to be bulky on this Incineroar. Nothing like super crazy here. So again, careful natured. Second EV bump here. 143 is pretty good. And then a little bit of defense. 190 and 84 is pretty good. So this way, after a Nuzzle, you can outspeed a base 100s. You know, just something like that. And then enough defense here, you know, just to be able to take that Zacian fighting move a little bit better. And then the rest just goes into your HP and just 1 point into attack, right? This is a very standard Incineroar spread. Nothing so crazy here. Landorus. So no matter what Landorus you want to use, like whether it's Life Orb or White Herb or Lum Berry, I think Max Speed Jolly is the way to go. And again, we don't speed tie our Lugia, which is very important. So there's that. I do like a little bit bulk on our Landorus. So what we can do is just go something like this, right? 84, and then just have max attack. Not max attack, but just go to that 187 mark for the attack stat. Now, this is, again, optimizing the hail chip damage that we would take from weather. So, you know, and it's just a little bit bulk. So this way we don't just like get completely one shot from the Zacian Behemoth Blade. Like at least it's a roll. So there's that. All right, Amoongus. I like the physically bulky Amoongus. I believe it's relaxed. Where are you? There you are. And then 0 speed, just so that we have the fastest shroom in Trick Room. Fastest shroom in Trick Room. 219 mark. This way we optimize the regenerator recovery bonus. So this way, when you do the dividing by 1/3, it's not a decimal, it's a perfect number. Second bump here in the defensive mark, you know, 119 to 121. You can see how you went up by 2 points there. And then the last bit just goes into special defense, right? You just want a bulky stream. You want to take those Zacian Behemoth Blades a little bit better. You want to take those physical air streams a little bit better. And the Incineroar Flare Blitz a little bit better, right? So, yeah, I think the Amoongus spread is relatively standard. And then Raichu here, we just need Raichu to, again, be max speed here. Outspeed, you know, the base 100s. And then we don't really need special attack here. We don't want to, like, destroy our Lugia with, like, the Volt Switch. We just want to go, like, max HP like this. Just be a bulky chew. Stay on the field. Click Eerie Impulse. Click Nuzzle. You know, and if we can keep the sash intact, that would be kind of cool. So, there's that. I think we did it all right. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get the pace going for this team. And again, we do have a second version of this squad with Grimmsnarl here, and you'll see what that looks like in a second. But it's a solid team. I mean, even if you don't bring Lugia, the Landorus, Zacian, Incineroar, those three can carry you and win the games but on their own. And then Raichu or Amoongus, it would come just depending on the matchup, right? So I think that in itself is pretty good. But like, there's a few games where you can beat. You can bring Lugia. Like, I just want to say, like, imagine Yvelta in that Lugia slot. Can you imagine weakness policy Yvelta with Raichu in this slot? I think I can. Or at least, like, we had something similar, right? Like, if you just put Yvelta on and then Aleki instead, then you can just put Life Orb on it and then just go for, like, you know, foul play, screech plays. Oh my god, it's so broken. But we are doing our best to make Lugia playable / viable, and I think we have something here with this version. Let's take a look at the second version, and then we'll showcase at least this one in some ranked battles. You know, test battles, I should say. And let's see if we can get a couple wins with it. But I do want to at least show an alternate version with Grimmsnarl. So if you want to do Grimmsnarl here, right? So first of all, what I would do is I would remove the Amoongus and actually remove the Raichu, and then add the Grimmsnarl with the screens, right? So Light Clay would be, of course, our move, and then here's the Light Clay, Light Screen, and here's the Reflect. Now the secret move here is Sucker Punch, and of course Spirit Break. Now that means we're giving up speed control with our Grimmsnarl. But actually, you know what you can do? You might even like forgo this. Hold on a second. We already have a fairy move on the Zacian, so I guess we can kind of forgo it and go for like Thunder Wave shenanigans. You can even go for like Scary Face just so that you can click that into Landorus, because, you know, Zacian, Instant, and our own Lando doesn't like an opposing Landorus. So you can at least do that. I leave it up to the player to decide. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all about what you value. But again, if you're going to go Grimmsnarl like this with Sucker Punch and then, you know, screens, then you don't need the Shadow Ball anymore and the Protect, I would say. I would just go like the Calm Mindset. And then Recover, right? That's what I would do. And then, you know, not having Protect is kind of bad. So if you don't really like Recover and that side, you can just still click Protect and then, you know, still click Calm Mind. I mean, it's rare that you don't see like Calm Mind like with a Recovery move, I would say. But again, this is still playable. But I do like having Recover on the Lugia, right? So I leave it up to you. But again, now that you have the Grimmsnarl, now you can get a little bit more speed control with the Regieleki and just say, you know what, I don't need Raichu, I have Landorus. I do like the Aleki Landorus combination. And now you can put the sash on this thing. Okay, so then here's your Electro Web. And then now you can go like Thunderbolt. Now you can go Volt Switch if you want. You can also go Eerie Impulse on this. But with screens, you know, to at least help us out with the damage mitigation, I don't think we're gonna need Eerie Impulse here. I think we're better off with another move. Again, Volt Switch is a good pivot move. I'm just thinking of something else. You know, it's tough, right? Let me think. Is Volt Switch okay, or do we want something else? I think Volt Switch is fine for now. And then Protect in the last slot. So there's our Lucky set. And then over here, what you can do is go like White Herb with the Landorus, or you can still, you know, just for like the Intimidate spam, or the other thing you can do is like Life Orb on this Landorus, or the other thing you can do is Life Orb Alecki and White Herb Landorus, and that could be a combination that you could do. But I think having the Sash on the Alecki is kind of cool. Now, this being said, what you can also do is just say, you know what, I'm gonna go with Life Orb Alecki, all right, and then just remove the Landorus, and then just go Gastrodon just to improve your Kyogre matchup. But then your Groudon matchup is a little bit not as good. Now, again, with this, you just have to decide, all right, who's getting the Life Orb, because they both can get the Life Orb. I think keeping the Life Orb and the Landorus is fine, and then just putting the Focus Sash on this thing is good. That's what I would do. All right, and then Timid is what we want here for the Alecki, and this is again good for like Calyrex stuff, and then Landorus with the Life Orb. So what I would do now, can you keep Swords Dance? I think you can, but I think with Life Orb, I think we have the damage that we need. I think Protect is better, and now what we can do is drop this HP a little bit and then just go into our attacking stat like this, I would say. So here's our Landorus spread. What you can even do is just drop this by 1 point a little bit and just get 1 point of bulk. That's okay. Or you can just say, you know what, I like having the even numbered special defense and I want that extra attack, so I'm just going to put it in my attacking stat like this. I mean, that's totally fine. But for now, we'll just put 1 point in the bulk and just leave it like that. All right, so this is the second version. Let's do the Grimmsnarl spread real quick. I mean, it's going to be the same one that we've always done in terms of what we want our Grimmsnarl to do. There's the bump here, and what we want is to take the Zacian Inhibit Blade on, switch in with the Incineroar with Reflect Up, right? So I think that's always important. So we have two speed control moves here, you know, with Scary Face and Electro Web, not too bad. We have Airstream, we still have Double Intimidate, we got Fake Out. So I think this is still also a pretty good team, at least for like Lugia, Zacian, I would say. I think they're both good, but I like this one a little bit just because I think Shadow Ball is kind of cool, and Raichu is always a little menace, I would say. So let's go ahead and take a look at some test battles. But what I also want to do is show you some damage calcs with Lugia and just show you like the raw bulk that it has. Alright, so now we're on Showdown. We just want to take a look at how bulky Lugia is. Look at Kyogre, right? Modest Kyogre with Mystic Water, 252 in the rain. Water Spout doesn't even do half. And then Ice Beam does like pitiful damage, even though it's super effective. Now, if I take away multi-scale, alright, and again, this is not Dynamax, by the way. Let's take away multi-scale. Let me just take away 1 HP here. Like, I have my multi-scale broken. Okay, we still live Water Spout. Like, and then Ice Beam now just doesn't, you know, still doesn't cut it. But like, the fact that we can live Water Spout in the rain from a modest 252 Kyogre with Mystic Water, that's crazy. And then, you know, most of the ogres are not even Mystic Water. They're like AV ogre with not even like max special attack. So like, imagine this Water Spout and just shave off about like 10% from it. So, you know, Lugia kind of chilling. All right, and then if these things were like Dynamax, how much is Geyser doing? Like, all right, 60%, you know, without the multi-scale, I would say. But then again, you have like max Quake stuff. So like, this is actually not too bad. This is okay. And then what if you had the Grimmsnarl team and then you had screens, right? So then, again, the max Geyser doesn't even do like, it barely does 40, right? And then if I just had screens anyway, the water spout with the multi-scale broken is, you know, all right, it still does at least half, but like you can kind of like chill okay with this. So that's with the light screen. And now let's look at like Regieleki stuff. So let's put back multi-scale. Let me just go back to full health. What about Regieleki? Like how much are you doing? Right, the demon that is Regieleki. Let's say like Life Orb Aleki. All right, Timid 252. Okay, if it's like Rising Voltage, Electro, Hyper Beam. All right, let's just go like Thunderbolt here. Like again, Life Orb, Thunderbolt. You know, stab super effective. You know, a little bit more than half. Lugia kind of chilling. And then if there was light screen, that does like maybe 30%. You proc my policy, and then. You know, even let's say, what if my multi-scale is broken? Do I get one shot? Okay, I do. All right, no, well, no, not exactly, right? 62%. All right, and then if you use the screen version, all right, you still chill. So it really all depends, right? What do you have? But then again, you know, how valid is Regieleki when you have a Raichu on your team? So I just want to say that much, all right? So there's that. What else can we count? Oh, the Calyrex, right? Calyrex Shadow Rider. Let's just say standard Calyrex set. We'll remove. Well, let's look at Life Orb. All right. So Life Orb, even with my multi-scale broken, Life Orb still has only a low roll to KO, like 31%. You know, with multi-scale broken. You know, from this range. But what if I had my multi-scale, right? All right, that does about 50%. Fine. But again, look at Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball kind of chilling here. And then what if you didn't have the Life Orb? What if you had, you know, Focus Sash, which just means like no item, right? So then the Astro Barrage, you know, 40% with the multi-scale. You proc my policy. You know, I'm +2 now. And then pretty much any move I click will one-shot you. Oh, actually Aeroblast does not. Okay, we got to be careful of that. But the Shadow Ball, okay. Ooh. All right. And then what if these both max? You know, okay. All right, it still kills. So that's good. That's good to know at the very least. So there's that. What about like Lunala? I think like what if it clicked like Meteor Beam stuff? So let's say this was +1, like a typical Lunala set. You know, they always like that second benchmark here. Okay. Ouch. So Moongeist Beam, you know, with +1 can KO. Well, we already clicked Meteor Beam once. We can't really click it again. If we had light screen, we kind of chilled too, right? Yeah, okay. And then I'm +2. We break their Shadow Shield. So it's all about breaking each other's ability. And then Dynamax. Okay. Not too bad. I mean, we're still fine. Now, the Yvelta is what we want to also count for, right? The Life Orb stuff. Let's just say 252 Life Orb Yvelta. Alright, let's just assume that. Okay, remove the screen. Keep multi-scale. Oblivion Wing, Dark Pulse, Foul Play. Okay, so Life Orb, Dark Aura. Okay. Alright, we actually live relatively fine. You know, Dark Pulse does good damage. We'll proc policy. What if I had no multi-scale anymore? Do I die? Okay, Dark Pulse, yes. Even then, still a roll. Foul Play. Okay, yeah. You know, this is always the tricky one. And then you have the light screen. Okay, you know, doable, passable. Again, Aeroblast not killing unless we crit. So there's always that. But then like Dynamax, you know, no screens. Okay. Again, this is with like multi-scale broken. So like we can still like live these hits, right? And Grimmsnarl just helps out a little bit more if you're using the second version of the team. So I just wanted to like showcase Lugia against some of like the more common super effective bonds, whether or not it can take all of these special attacks relatively well. But we always have like a really good special defense. What about stuff like Groudon or Zacian? Let's just do Groudon because like if you can live Groudon, then you can live you know, Landorus, right? So let's just say you know, Citrus Dawn, but like let's say 252 Adamant, you know, assume the worst type of Groudon there is, you know, no speed, all bulk Groudon. So let's remove this, and there's Rock Slide. Okay. And then what if you had like Stone Edge? Because, you know, that's what the AB sets run. Stone Edge. Okay, can I live that? We should, right? Okay, that's good. If we intimidate this thing, that doesn't even do half. If he's Swords Dance, okay, that kills, so there's that. But then what about like Reflective? Okay, we can live with Reflective even if he gets the Swords Dance. So we got shots against Groudon here, right? If it's max 252, even then. So not too bad. This is also probably why they have Blizzard on Lugia on some of the other like achieving teams, like the one with the Sun team with Groudon. So there's that. But again, Lugia's bulk is impressive. It's just the damage output, right? So, all right, let's just go ahead and see how this performs in some test battles. Okay, so this person is also testing as well because he only has 5 Pokemon. So Solgaleo Ogre with Trick Room and Tailwind. So, you know, either way, you know, I have a fast fake out with Raichu, so I can always go like Lugia Raichu, and then if he does have fake out, we can stop his fake out with our fake out. And then the goal is to, you know, get our Landers in position where we can just do a bunch of damage after a Phantasm drop, or even then Zacian can also clean up as well, right? So I am going to go with the Lugia Raichu lead here, and I would imagine it's Solgaleo and Tornadus. Okay, so Torn, Solgaleo. Now he could protect, or he could just, you know, click Tailwind. Either way, I want to get a Nuzzle off. I have a Sash. I don't think he does any kind of double up here, and we just want, like, you know, potential power hacks on the Solgaleo. So I'm gonna go for the Nuzzle, and lucky enough he goes for Protect, not wanting to get faked out. So we paralyze the Solgaleo. No Aeroblast there. I didn't max the Lugia, no need to on that opening turn. And now this is good for him a little bit, right? Because he has Spadef against our Lugia. So that's okay, but I do want to Nuzzle the Tornadus here, so he wasn't even going for Tailwind. Gets the Light Part here. There's the Aeroblast, no crit. We do chip damage on the Light Part, and he probably thought he would I would switch out my Raichu here, but instead I keep it in, and the Max Lightning just boosts up my Raichu, so thank you. Now the Light Part this turn has Fake Out, right? So what I want to also try and do is force him to Fake Out the Raichu, and then protect the Lugia. So this way, if he goes for the Max Lightning, which is exactly what he does, he procs my Policy and does very little damage, right? So this is the plan I had all along. I knew he wasn't gonna do like some silly Trick Room shenanigans. So now, you know, with the Dynamax over from Solgaleo, now we can Dynamax the Lugia, and now we can just put him out of his misery. I have no idea why he clicked Sucker Punch there, because we outspeed him anyway. There's the Phantasm Defense drop, and here's the combo with Earthquake. And of course, Landers didn't really need the defense drop, but, you know, it was just kind of cool to see. And, you know, Ogre and Tornadus in the back, they don't stand a chance here. All right, especially when we have Zacian in the back, and Lugia is just too bulky. I understand he can click Tailwind. I understand he can click Water Spout. That's not doing anything at this point with our against our Dynamax. You might kill the Landers, but again, we still have Zacian in the back, so I can just always go for Airstream and then one more defense drop, and then Zacian just cleans up in the end game, right? So let's take a look at another. All right, another weird team. He has 4 standard mons there. He's got Aleki, Calyrex, Palkia, but then and then there is a Shedinja. I have no idea why he has Primarina and a Cinccino there. I generally do not know why he has any of those two. But again, this is a game where Raichu looks pretty cool again, especially against the Aleki, because that's really his. Other than that, in the Calyrex, that's how he puts on pressure on the Lugia. But again, we have Incin, and Zacian can pressure the, I almost said Kyogre, the Palkia, as long as there's no Trick Room, right? So that's what I'm going to bring. So he goes Aleki and Calyrex, we go Lugia, and there's the Raichu, right? So the Aleki can't really do too much here. The Calyrex can Astral Barrage all he wants. It doesn't matter, he's going to proc my Policy, and there's the value of the Fake Out from the Raichu. Get me to Sash, that's okay, but again, now we click the Airstream button, now we're faster than Calyrex, and he actually is not Sash. So now we have the speed control on our side here. And again, he does max the Palkia here, that's okay. He does go for E-Speed, which I did not expect, but we do get to remove the Aleki, and now all of a sudden Lugia is putting in work, and now the Palkia is trapped here by himself. It does have the Shedinja, but we do have the Shadow Ball play, but he does go for the Ally Switch. And now we have to play this game. We do get defense drops, which is nice, but again, the Ally Switch button is the bummer here. And now we just have to, you know, we can't really do too much. I could have protected there, and You know, I should have made the mid guard play, right? Because if he clicks Shadow Sneak, that means he's not clicking Ally Switch, right? And if he does click Ally Switch, that means he doesn't click you know, the Shadow Sneak button, and then I could have just read it anyway. So I should have just made the mid guard play, but it didn't occur to me at the time, so I pay the price here. But Zacian does live the max flare. Now we get in the Incin, so he just boosted my damage. Great job. I think Incin wins this in the end game. He has to click Ally Switch again. He does miss the Draco meter, so that's good. And there's the value of that defense shot. That throw just did so much damage. And again, I still have to play this game with the Ally Switch. Now the Palkia is just stuck here. And there is the throw chop, so that's all we need there. This is pretty much over, and I'm lucky to get the dub because that's all he wants to click, Ally Switch. Alright, one more. I remember this one. This was a tough one. So this is the typical Calyrex Reshiram squad. Where's Wally? We just played against Wally in the other video. So here's Gastrodon and Regieleki. That's very bad against Raichu, so thankfully I did not bring that, but I did bring the Amoongus. So there's the Protect on the Regieleki. That's okay, I guess. I was going to try and get rid of the Gastrodon because I don't want that thing clicking Yawn all the time. He goes into Reshiram here. That's a very bold play. And there's the Volt switch into Gastrodon. Now, I did want to make the read if he went into the Calyrex. I cannot believe Gastrodon lived this, right? Because if I get rid of that, then the Yawn shenanigans that you're about to see does not happen. But there's the leftovers here. I protect this. I don't want to get smashed by Reshiram here because I can't KO it. I probably should have just tried to KO the Gastrodon, right? Because then the Yawn play doesn't happen. So that's probably a misplay on my part, and now I have to do all this pivoting and stuff. There's the Earth Power into Reshiram. It does some chip damage, not a whole lot. The Reshiram is -1, and there's another Yawn. But see, I'm okay with Lugia going to sleep here because what damage is he really doing into Lugia? Not a whole lot. Even this Calyrex, where I can just switch in my Incin right now, intimidate it, and now, even if he goes for a Glacial Lance, he'll proc my policy. And we do save the Amoongus from the Blue Flare sweep. And here's the Regieleki again. I did want to repivot my Incin, and thankfully I did. I maxed the Lugia. I can't remember why I did this. I think it's because I didn't want... If the Regieleki maxed and killed my Lugia, I did not want that to happen. So I maxed the sleeping Lugia in the end, but it's still okay. All right, I would say it's not like very, very bad. And we do get to remove the Gastrodon, which is nice. And the Blue Flare, again, he does miss. You know, this is what happens. And thankfully we get the Spore off. But now everybody's taking a nap, right? Because Amoongus, he took the Yawn. I do want to at least stall one more turn of potential sleep. So there's a Volt Switch. He does go into Calyrex Ice. Man, what if I just clicked an attack move there? But we are bulky against the Reshiram because we have a special defense boost. But again, I just want to keep intimidating this Calyrex and just deal some chip damage there, which we do. And there's the Glacial Lance. That's what I wanted because now he procs my policy. Everything lives because I intimidated it. And now I can bring back Zacian, reposition. Of course, he's going to click Protect. He doesn't want to die this turn. Good chip damage into Reshiram. You know, I'm a little sad that didn't kill, but again, this is Lugia we're talking about. Why am I not surprised? Reshiram also probably has the Assault Vest, so there's that too. And there goes the Regieleki again. We do remove the Reshiram, so that's good. And I was going into the Calyrex with that one. But now he knows I have it in terms of Shadow Ball, but he has no Trick Room, right? So there's the Raw Thunder, which is kind of cool. But again, no speed control, so we're able to just one-shot everything. And yeah, that's all she wrote. So a much better, pretty cool game, I would say. I was a little sad that we couldn't KO the Gastrodon there, but hey, Lugia put in work. I have to say, it did put in work. All right, so let's take a look at the pace one last time here. So before we get to this one, again, this is the original team that we built with the Landorus, Raichu, Amoongus core. You know, just being able to have redirection with the Amoongus, and then Raichu for like, you know, Nuzzle plays and Eerie Impulse stuff is really, really nice. And then Landorus is good into the Sun games. Incineroar is good against Calyrex Ice Rider, which you saw. And then just having Lugia, Raichu, you know, just pose a threat is always really, really nice. And then Zacian just comes in the back end and just cleans up, you know. This is, again, Shadow Ball Lugia, where you can get those defense drops and help out your Zacian, Landorus, and to a degree, Incineroar, right? If you look at this one, this is the screens version with Grimmsnarl. So the Landorus is a little bit more aggressive with the Life Orb. We now have a Regieleki instead of a Raichu, just because the screen support helps it a little bit. And again, Volt Switch and Scary Face, 2 additional speed control moves here. Sucker Punch to proc the policy if we need to. I don't think Volt Switch is super good to do that. I mean, maybe if we still have multi-skill, but even then, I would still be wary. But being able to set up Calm Mind behind screens and then click Recover over time, then you force that end game where Lugia could just, potentially sweep the opponent if they can't break the screens and break through Calm Mind stuff. And then you have double Intimidate to support that, right? So, it's still very, very viable. And I still think, a team like this, even without Lugia, can still do well, right? So let's say you don't bring Lugia. You still lead like Incin Grim, and then, Landorus can max behind screens, and then Zacian just cleans up behind screens also. So there's always that. And you can win a handful of games just with those 4. So same thing with on this side, Zacian, Incin, Landorus, that's the 3, if you leave Lugia behind, and then you just bring in either the Raichu or Amoongus, depending on the matchup. But yeah, they both play in similar ways. They also let you make certain plays that maybe you wouldn't make if there were no screens. So there's that to consider. But I think we've got 2 decent squads here. Now, you can probably fit in Gastrodon here in the instant slot, I would say. Double ground is okay, I would assume, just to help your Ogre matchup a little bit. But then you need the Incineroar, right, for the Ice Rider. So I don't know if you can manage without the Incin here. So same thing on this side. What would you remove? Like the Aleki? But then, like, Electro is so good. And then, just Focus Sash, just being able to click it twice is really, really nice. So it's a tough call. If this was Ho, you'd definitely see a Gastrodon here. But because there is no Ho, and this is Lugia instead, I think we'll manage against the Ogre matchup because we have so much bulk, right? So let me know what you think of both versions of the team. Let me know which one you like more than the other. And again, something like this where we do team building is a tier 3 sub to the channel. So check that out in terms of coaching, where we sit down in a Discord call. I teach you a little bit about how to do EVs. We build the squad in case you're getting ready for regionals or tournaments. And then we test out a little bit on Showdown if we have to. Tier 2 is a team fixing where you get to send a paste to me and I will fix it / optimize it based on what I see fit in the meta currently. And then I do a little video like this where I fix the team. And we have a few of those in terms of examples on the channel. So if you're interested, take a look at that and see if that is something that you would want to do. But again, we're closing in on 2,000 subs. We're at 1980 now, 1980 plus, I think. So slowly but surely, hopefully by the end of June, we get there, we reach our goal. But again, if you are someone who has not subbed yet, make sure you hit that button so this way we can get closer to that 2K sub goal. But we'll be back with another Series 12 squad in the next video, guys. Peace out and have a good evening.